What's going on, FUD Nation, and welcome back. So today I'm actually going to just reflect for you guys. I'm going to open up my brain and just really talk about something that has been on my mind. And I didn't really know how much it was on my mind or put the right words to it until I saw an episode from Crypto Daily, who you guys probably all know of, a British YouTuber that is in the crypto space. And he talked about this problem on one of his recent episodes. And normally he does like a lot of like memes and stuff, but this was a cool episode where I felt like he kind of dug into a juicy topic. He actually calls it a juicy topic. So before I dive in, essentially the topic is here about idealism and how idealism is so strong here in the cryptocurrency space. But in reality, idealism can really screw you over when you're really just stuck to these ideals and you don't really go for a pragmatic approach. I think that a lot of people got into cryptocurrency. Well, I know a lot of people got into cryptocurrency to make profits. Well, we know because the Google Trends data shows that as the price went up, guess what? The amount of attention and excitement around the space went up. So it's no secret that price action and potential return on investment has brought a ton of people to the space and probably been the best marketing efforts for the entire movement. But nonetheless, once you're in the space, there's such powerful idealism about decentralization and what it means to be part of the movement, and essentially demonization of projects and coins that people feel are not really in line with the right ideals. So I'm going to show you what Cam said about this, and then I'm going to react to what he said. None of this is negative. I have a tremendous respect for Cam and Crypto Daily. I'm just showing that his video content really inspired me to make this video, and I think it's fair to play a little of his video in this one as I react to it.
So here's the root of the problem I think many people are falling for. It's somewhat of a fallacy that you can A, maximize your profits, while B, having principled idealism. Sadly, these two very, very rarely work in tandem. I would be very careful of listening to people who are arguing about why something is a good or bad investment when they're coming from a point of view that is of principles or ideals. I remember vividly when Cardano was first starting to gain some traction, Tron 2, EOS, basically you name it, very, very negative about these projects in their early days. Very negative. Yet, here they are in the top 10. All right, Cardano's top 12, whatever. And yet at the same time, this subreddit is responsible for shilling some of the worst crap out there. People like that just assume everyone else is stupid for liking the coins that they like. Someone very successful in crypto once told me, and this was during the Bitcoin Cash pump, that the market cares not a damn about your principles. I don't want anyone to walk away from this market with regrets, that wanted to earn their financial freedom and yet weren't able to because they had principled ideals shoved down their throats by random people on the internet.
So I think this point is salient, right? Of when you're in the cryptocurrency environment, when you're in this whole industry and you're deciding, oh, I like this new project, it's exciting to me. There seems to be this initial backlash of hatred towards any new project. This existed for XRP, or OpenCoin, as they first called it back in 2013. They thought it would ruin Bitcoin. When Ethereum launched, there was a tremendous amount of hatred for it, calling it vaporware, calling it essentially damaging to the entire crypto space. Obviously, that worked out very well for anyone who participated in the Ethereum ICO. Cardano, Tron, EOS, and please don't make any mistake here. I'm not trying to argue for the legitimacy of these projects. I'm just saying that liking the idea of a new project is not in and of itself a wrong thing to do. DYOR, do your own research. That's the only law of the land. And there's certainly not moral lines that you should or shouldn't cross as far as how to use cryptocurrency. Yes, there are a bunch of cypherpunks and anarchists that started out in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency land, and they're the ones that seeded the movement. And that's totally true. And there's still that energy going on with Bitcoin. It's still the most decentralized. I don't believe that, the decentralization that happened with Bitcoin and the organic growth of millions of people around the world, flipping on their computers to run nodes, I don't think that that's going to happen again quite in the same way with another coin. So, from that perspective, I think Bitcoin has the best chance of being, quote, sound money or a store of value. Does it mean it's wrong for me to get excited by Tron or EOS or Cardano? I don't think that's wrong at all. In fact, you guys know very well that I like a lot of these new projects. I don't think they're all guaranteed to be successful. And that's why I come from a tremendously pragmatic perspective with this, not an idealistic perspective. perspective, because I know that most people care more about protecting their wealth than they do care about protecting their sort of ideological backing, their ideological foundation. I believe most people in this movement are trying to make wise investment decisions. These loud voices want to bully you into believing what they believe because they think that if someone else believes something different, it will ruin the value of the thing that they believe. And that inherently is a problem, because if what they believed was so correct, then they wouldn't need to cyberbully you into believing it with them. You don't need to be shouted out or silenced for having a different belief. And that's obviously a big problem today with people wanting to silence those that don't believe what they believe. And I think that's very true of, projects like EOS and Cardano and Tron. Don't ever let the herd bully you into believing what they believe just because it doesn't fit in with their ideological structure. And I would say beware of ideas, because ideas can be very powerful. They can be very convincing. But just like Cam has alluded to here, ideas in and of themselves don't pay developers. Ideas don't create runways. Ideas don't create revenue streams. User adoption, network growth, product adoption, product releases, those are the things that end up creating long-lasting networks. Those are the things that I'm most attracted to. So to me, whether you believe in the concepts and ideals of a coin is, yes, it's important, and you should always stick to your ideals. But that's like saying if you believe that you should own your own data and protect your own data, that you should never invest into Google, or that you should never invest into Netflix, or you should never invest into, Facebook, because those companies essentially in turn are responsible for selling data. And that's fine, but if that were the case, then you would have missed out on some of the most profitable securities over the last 20 years. So it's just a question of, what are you here for? Are you here for ideological reasons? If so, ignore everything I said and just stick to your ideas, right? But if you're here because you want to be an intelligent investor and be on the front wave of a financial revolution, then I would say that you should be focused more on fundamentals of the business, fundamentals of the network growth, the user adoption. And that's not to say that they can't be idealistic, like Bitcoin, right? I think fulfills a lot of ideological checkboxes for people. Decentralization, immutability, nobody can seize and confiscate it or shut it down. I think that these are all awesome things. And I think that Bitcoin is going to be the best shot we have at creating sound money online. But that's not to say that some of these other projects won't enjoy incredible growth and incredible success. I'm just saying, don't be bullied by people who believe something that you maybe didn't even believe before you got into cryptocurrency. I know I personally was not obsessed with decentralization. I was not obsessed with the overbearing banks and governments, and the printing of fiat was not a problem I concerned myself with before getting into cryptocurrency. It's something I learned about. I got into this space because of the amazing growth of the assets. And then I learned about the ideological underpinnings, and that's when I kind of fell in love with the space. But that doesn't mean that I'm discriminating against projects that don't subscribe to all those ideals. I agree with Cam 110% that I don't think you should be either. I think you should absolutely be thinking for yourself and making your own decisions based on what you think are projects that will be successful, attracting new money and attracting new people into the space, into the networks. Those are the real things that I define as success. Mark Zuckerberg is arguably a terrible person, yet he runs one of the most successful businesses in the world. I don't think anyone is buying and selling Facebook stock based on whether or not Zuckerberg is a good person, right? Steve Jobs was notoriously an asshole, yet Apple has done extraordinarily well. It's not about whether the founders are good people. It's about whether you think the project's going to be successful and the fundamentals would lead you to believe that they're going to be successful. And I'm not pushing you to invest in anything. I don't want to advertise any projects. I'm just using examples of projects that have been, totally demonized for not standing up on an ideological level. Most recently, Binance, right? Because they're centralized and they're having all these fees associated with their decentralized exchange. And essentially, it's all designed to make Binance a ton of money. You could say that that's not true decentralization because of all of the, the checks and balances or the barriers to entry. So if you think that Binance coin will go up in value and your goal is to make returns on it, and it looks like Binance Chain is going to create a lot of value and utility for BNB, then don't let people bully you into stopping supporting or participating in the project, right? In the end, the market will choose the products and services that they want to use. Hopefully that's Bitcoin. Hopefully they're ideologically sound projects. But if you see something that looks like it's going to be tremendously successful, don't let these people, these random people online that you don't know, tell you what to believe. And that's sort of all I want to say, is that, you know, nobody's perfect, and the person, you know, any person can be criticized. I can be criticized. I'm not a perfect person. I'm sure almost anyone out there can be criticized for decisions they've made in their lives. That doesn't prohibit someone from being successful. I've also been on projects with people I don't respect very much that have been tremendously successful. Coming from a tech entrepreneurship background, I just come from a very pragmatic stance of, I know what it takes to keep a project going, and it's mostly user growth and revenue. So if you see a project that's designed with, you know, great abilities to attract new users and create sustainable revenue, and really build out the ecosystem, I don't think it's wrong to like that. You know, I don't think it's wrong to look at Ripple and go, well, it looks like they're going to be positioned to make a lot of money and potentially create a huge demand for the coin. I'm not saying they are, right? I'm not saying Ripple is going to create that demand on XRP. I'm just saying, if you think that, it doesn't make you a bad person, right? Ideas are great, and they're such an important underpinning of this entire movement. It's what makes cryptocurrency different than just another product, right? There is a movement aspect, an ideological shift happening. But there's also the element that most people come in as speculative investors. And so if you consider yourself investing and hoping to create success or wealth growth for yourself, my only advice to you, not professional financial advice, but just personal advice, would be to just sort of ignore these hateful, bullying words that are constantly spewing out of different camps online, and, you know, specifically on Reddit. You know, if you have done your research and you believe in a project and you've assessed the risks involved, then you should make your own decisions and live with those decisions, take responsibility, but also be strong enough to ignore that, because you are the best person to make decisions for yourself, no one else. I could go back and cite tons of examples of technologies that, you know, weren't the best tech in the space or the most ideologically sound that totally took off and worked, but you guys know how it goes. The best tech doesn't always win. The best ideas don't always win. It's about scrappy entrepreneurs and scrappy teams that deliver, grow user bases, and create revenue, and essentially make sure that their vision becomes the reality. So if you guys agree with me, I'd appreciate you throwing a like in. If you disagree with me, go ahead, leave me a hateful comment in the comments section below. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, I'm Elio Trades. You're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.